Yeah.
Hi, I'm John. I'm the organizer of predictive analytics, and for the timekeepers, I just talked to Evan. He said since he finished early that he had ceded some of his time to me. So, the framework for my talk is around learning and doing and physical location and online. Our group has been primarily focused the last 5 years on learning and helping members learn. Some online that we've been doing, but doing is new. So I'm going to talk about an effort there. And then all towards helping with the government on challenges. So our members come from a wide range, beginners to experts. We were mostly professionals, but in the last couple of years we've seen a lot of students and folks from government and even the dog. You can teach an old dog data science. All right, so from the get-go, I've been member-focused. So I have run surveys saying, like, what do you guys want? Not just in terms of, we know you want data science, but more specifically, is there a certain software you want to learn, certain technique? And over the years, we've hit most of the basics. So workshops, lectures are more what people want. Projects and hackathons, less so. And it wouldn't be possible, really, without having the volunteers of our speakers. When we have an event topic, we send out a call for speakers, and folks like Lynn, David, and Jeffrey, and Vic, and about dozens and dozens have all stepped up. And originally, when I created a website to have our list of talks, I just had it like a list of talks, and that's kind of impersonal. So I created the Speaker Hall of Fame. Anyone who speaks is in the Hall of Fame. And we talked earlier about event location, and that we had the same kind of situation for a couple of years, and then in 2009, Microsoft Nerd came and opened up a couple floors of their research and development center. And here, Michael Bork, who runs the PHP group, he started there, and you can see how for many years they were holding events wherever. Microsoft Nerd comes along, and all of a sudden it has a great capacity. So here's Microsoft Nerd. It's not just the PHP group that they've hosted. Our group was born there. Our first meetup was there, and we just had another one a couple weeks ago. But they've hosted so many different tech groups and many other organizations. It's not just meetup. And it's a very well-located center right there in the heart of Kendall Square in Cambridge, which works out well for people to access. So that's our typical, theater setup for Microsoft Nerd. So as folks have talked, it's mostly learning. And our sponsors, I'm going to show it very static here, but we've got our sponsors who are there to sell or recruit, and so they'll pay for pizza or drinks, and that leads to a lot of networking before and after. And so I mentioned how Microsoft has been a big part of our ecosystem. And here's the network diagram I created back in 2012. And a lot of these groups are ones that Microsoft has hosted. And also a lot of them are open source groups, whether it's R, Python, and so forth. You don't see too many like SAS. SAS has their own corporate community all across the country as Tableau. And so I know that was mentioned earlier about some of the corporate folks. They generally will sponsor. And I also wanted to highlight the New York Tech Meetup group because, for Boston, the Crossroads group is the Boston New Tech group, where you have both people from all walks of technology. And that came out of, following the lead of New York Tech was started way back when. It's the largest tech meetup group, and as you go around the country, that's the case as well. And many of these groups are the ones that were here in April for the White House meetup. And so the one thing about a lot of lectures is we don't do a lot of doing or socializing. I mentioned how, before or after events, but when you have a lot of groups, as many cities do, and you kind of always seem bumping into the same people, it does lead to networking. And I just talked to Michelle and from a Boston Analytics Club, how they're starting to do networking events, as is Data Science Atlanta and LA. So networking, I think, is probably going to be another thing that people do because we are so focused on learning and lectures. And, for me, it was kind of interesting because I would occasionally look at my LinkedIn maps. This is no longer available. They discontinued it. But one time you could go up on LinkedIn, hit a button, and get all your connections. And I saw this area I didn't recognize. I was like, what is that? I started hovering over names. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Peter, and that's David. And I'm like, oh, all these meetup folks are all connecting. So I think one of the power of meetup is is enabling that. So that's our model that we've had. We're really good at learning and helping people learn. The doing aspect, earlier this year when we were approached, I was like, wow, we haven't done this, let's try it. So I ended up forming a data science for social good meetup group, and all I wanted to do was find a path from all these options and even more permutations of, can we find something or a way to do this? And I think it's possible. And we already have some people in the group who are already data scientists who are virtual. So by just even sending them an email and letting them know about a challenge, they can go and they can do it. And I think so that's even a very low level. We were also looking at, can we do projects? So when I formed the group, I did half of it data science and topics and half of it civic tech. And some people were, when I announced it through the main analyst group joined, but we had a lot of new faces, a lot of nonprofits. And that's kind of was great because then we had a balance between the domain and the data science. We had our first kickoff event in May. When members joined, I asked them what are they interested in. That's the most recent data. Healthcare and education, that's kind of involved in our two big industries, so it's not a surprise. In our first kickoff, in order to parallel process, we added people around in tables and breakouts. That's the same room at Microsoft. You can kind of see the difference between how our typical meetups have been with lectures. The room has not been configured to do tables, and it was a lot more interactive than any event I had been to before. That event had a lot of great brainstorming. Folks were really excited, but we never really got from the brainstorming to operationalizing into any projects. However, as we kind of had a few more project nights, a few things did come up with members having a need. And so, for example, Priya, who has a nonprofit social impact startup there to help women in underdeveloped countries use mobile to get health care, she's really good at that. And so she partnered with Peter Gohl and made some great analysis. We also try to replicate projects from the University of Chicago, and Harlan, who's good for Boston, was helpful to connect us, and that worked out to where Massachusetts was already low, so there were other problems like opioids were more pressing. We participated in the USA Innovation Challenge, and also we have George Mockray, who's for 3 years or 4 years has been manually putting together all the events at universities. John is helping him to automate that process. So my grad school studies were in business economics and innovation, including regional innovation. So I opened the meetup data set. I was like, I can do network analysis. And you can get interesting data like, how cities are doing. But I thought, instead of competition between cities, what about collaboration? And so here are all the data events going on, not all, subset today across the U.S. A lot of data events here in the U.S. Similarly, not in the U.S., wherever, Norway, and so forth. So this is a map I put together of meetup adoption, and it follows GDP and English-speaking language. But I thought, what if we took a subset like R and all the R meetups and got together and collected all of our links? So I created a program with Dag Holmbo. Everyone puts their links in comments. We scrape the comments. About 20% do this. So this is something maybe we can collaborate on, like how do we do this? And lastly, that spun off into a Twitter analogous idea of let's get all the open source tweets on stats, RStats, Python, and have people be able to communicate through Twitter as well. That's my contact information. And I know I'm over time, but the gentleman from the BD mentioned citizen science. I thought, what about citizen science? Part of this is looking at the whole ecosystem and knowing that tech's over there, social is the biggest group in Boston over there. Can we connect them together like we're doing with the nonprofits? So I looked at the social, the highest member group is Nerd Fun, which is science-oriented. And I thought, what about global science, citizen science groups? And right now, that's an infancy on Meetup. There's only a handful of groups. So if there wants to be a growing of citizen science, maybe we can leverage Meetup. So thanks very much. Sorry, Renata, and thanks, Evan, for the bonus time.